was the last time you examined your beliefs to make sure you're not buying into any myths? In order to help others put aside the myths they believe, you must first analyze your beliefs and eradicate any myths which may have a foothold. This video will show you how to examine your beliefs and how to effectively engage others so that they can examine their beliefs. Belief perseverance, which is when you hold on to your beliefs in spite of overwhelming evidence, and confirmation bias, which is when you gravitate toward information that confirms what you already believe, conspire against you to make spotting misinformation difficult. Raise your hand if you're guilty. Actually, we're all guilty of it. But knowing about this tendency gives you the power to change it. Okay then, how do you go about recognizing a myth in the first place? Technology can help with that. Be skeptical about what you think you know. A good first step is to ask, how do I know what I know? Or, how do they know what they know? To help answer that question, you can follow the sources back to the original and look at the context, especially if some facts don't seem quite right. You know, most reputable sites will have links to the original source. If you can't find links, that's a big red flag. Asking the right questions can help you get to the truth. What does the writer have to gain? Is this a reputable source? Is this safe to try? And does this seem outlandish or sensationalized? You can also verify the information at trusted sites. Mainstream websites, academic sites, professional sites, medical sites, and of course the fact-check sites. Once you've examined your own beliefs, then you're ready to help someone else let go of their own myths and misinformation. Just like with you, belief perseverance and confirmation bias gets in their way. Plus, there are 3 backfire effects that make the task difficult, but not impossible. The overkill backfire effect happens when you provide so many facts that it overwhelms the audience, and the only thing they're able to remember is the myth. So keep it simple. Use short sentences and avoid complicated terms. Subheadings and graphics are great tools too. Remember, the easier it is to process the information, the more likely it will be accepted. The familiarity backfire effect happens when you become so familiar with information that you just accept it as true. The typical way of presenting a myth by highlighting it isn't very effective because you just wind up reinforcing the myth. So when you're trying to help someone, you'll want to communicate the facts without mentioning the myth. If you do need to mention the myth, be sure to give a strong warning that the information coming up isn't true. The worldview backfire effect happens when someone is presented facts that conflict with their strongly held view. This effect not only results in rejection of the new information, but reinforcement of the old information. This happens with people who are very set in their views, and it is probably the most difficult backfire effect to contend with. This effect is so powerful that it is best to leave this unswayable minority alone and focus instead on the undecided. Engaging this type of audience in self-affirmation exercises helps them to become more balanced when scrutinizing new information. Also, framing the information in a way that affirms the audience's worldview and avoiding terms they find offensive helps the audience assess new information. Debunking a myth leaves a mental gap. As far as the human mind is concerned, an incorrect model beats an incomplete model, so make sure you rebuild the model. To do this, you may need to explain why the myth is wrong. You also might need to explain why the myth was created in the first place. And always remember to respect your audience throughout the entire process.